Hello, YouTube. I'm Dr. Tactical, and the doctor will see you now. Welcome back to the channel. Well, today's episode really could have been titled, Which Lucky Gun Gets to Go in My Pants? I decided not to go with that, though. I had some votes from the family also recommending against it. Apparently, everything I do embarrasses my kids. So, hey, as a parent, that's kind of your job. And what they don't understand is I actually enjoy it. And by the way, if you ever really do enjoy embarrassing your kids, start a YouTube channel. All right. Anyway, we are going to sort of pick up where we left off when I did a comparison of the Staccato CS to the CZ Shadow Shadow 2 Compact. That was right here. For those of you who didn't see it, a lot of you did. So here's the thing with that. When I did that video, I was so excited for the CZ Shadow 2. I had my CS. I love my CS. I was so happy with it. In fact, I was pissed that they came out with the Shadow 2 Compact because I compete with that my Shadow 2, and I love my Shadow 2. And I always thought, God, I wish they'd come out with something compact like it. And then I could carry that and I could train, and I'd have these two guns that do two different things, but are really the same manual of arms, and it would sort of be the perfect thing of everything. And I was trying to get my hands on the CZ Shadow 2 Compact, and Maryland, being Maryland, took its sweet time to get it on the roster, and everybody's posting about it, and I couldn't stand it anymore. So I did the video, but I did the video without actually handling the CZ Shadow 2 Compact. I read a lot about it, I watched a lot of videos about it, and of course I knew my Shadow 2 Orange inside and out, so I figured that would be, that was enough. And I speculated. Well, before we get into it, I'm just going to give a quick spoiler alert. I was right. All of my speculations were right. All right, we'll come back to that in a second. Couple points. One, you may have noticed I am wearing my Dr. Tactical scrub top. Why am I wearing my Tactical scrub top? Because we have had a vote going on whether, as you know, SHOT Show right around the corner. I'm getting psyched. I want to promote the brand, so am I going to walk around in a lab coat? Am I going to walk around in the scrub top? Or am I going to walk around in civilian clothes and just tell people who I am? Anyway, the vote's been going on from you all. It's been pouring in. I would say probably 6-1 votes are in favor of the scrub top over the other two options, which would be lab coat or civvies. Anyway, the vote's not over. I'm not there yet. Please keep the votes coming. I love the comments. They're hysterical, most of them. Anyway, but I figured I'd give you guys a chance to get a little more eyes on the scrub top since I've done so many with the lab coat. All right, one more thing before we get into it, and that is I have been working on a code, a discount code for all my viewers out there to sort of help the channel and to help you guys. It's not fully in effect yet, but here's what we can do. I've reached out. Any gun shop on the planet, so not just, this is not restricted to continental U.S. Any gun shop anywhere in the world, I wouldn't go so far as to say galaxy, but we'll stay on Earth right now. If you go to them and when you're ready to make your purchase, what you have to say to them is, Dr. Tactical sent me. Now it's important, you got to do the finger thing too. So which is Dr. Tactical sent me. You can go ahead, practice it. All right, you work on it. Anyway, when you go there, they've all been trained. They know what to say. They will probably say, it's sort of a code, this.
Who the fuck is Dr. Tactical? Who the fuck is Dr. Tactical?
Now, let's get into the guns. So the two guns we're dealing with are this very, very empty CZ. By the way, speaking of empty guns, you probably can tell from my voice, I have a cold right now. In fact, I may stop to get a drink at some point. You are in no danger, if I cough on here, of me getting you sick. Do not worry. And consequently, if I accidentally left a loaded round in one of these guns and aimed there and fired, you are equally safe. Um, and I don't have a camera person. It's all robotical. Okay, so here it is. Here it is. The CZ Shadow 2 Compact. Um, and I have my hands on it, and I have fired it, and we're gonna talk about it. And the question comes down to, and of course, the Staccato. So the Staccato CS. So let's just talk about why these two guns are just sort of so perfect. The Staccato CS is the smallest version of the Staccato makes. It's their concealed carry version. This is my Staccato XC. I love this gun. Love this gun. And I know there are service people that do carry this gun. And I know that there are civilians. I know civilians that carry this gun. I would not feel comfortable carrying this gun. I love this gun. I shoot some competitions with this gun. The the springs. I mean, this gun is just butter. It's just beautiful. Racking this gun just makes me happy. And I haven't tried the air racking. I had a very good competitive shooter borrowed my gun and air racked it and got it locked up. And my buddy, my buddy Lewis, who I still thank for this, the guy I talk about, he owns Honey Bear Tactical. He actually was at the competition, saw it happen, and came over and got it freed up for me. Anyway, but there's with that type of precision and that type of light spring, I feel like there's from a reliability standpoint, and by which I mean using different types of ammo. I just worry about the consistency. I have nothing clinically that I can support that with. This gun has worked flawlessly for me. But when it comes to carry, well, first of all, I would have a hell of a time concealing this. But also, sorry, but also, it just concerns me with its design because this is really a design for precision and reliability. I don't know where that falls on this. Although again, nothing but good experience. However, when it comes to the P and all the other guns that follow, those guns are more really designed, I think, to go into the hands of law enforcement, military. Those are guns that are also very, very high end. Now the slides aren't on the same kind of springs. They're not sliding that easily. There's a lot more effort that goes into it, which I think adds to the reliability of the gun. So this is really what I consider to be from Staccato's pinnacle of concealed carry. That change that they made, and I know a lot of people aren't thrilled about the smaller magazine and being proprietary, and you can't use the bigger magazines in this because they hold bigger bullets, not just 9mm, but the 38s. So this is really specifically a 9mm magazine, and as a result, you really have a smaller package, and your hands wrap around it better, and it's just a great, great concealed gun. Now, one concern. This is a Condition 1 carry gun. Well, I mean, you can choose to carry it not cocked and locked. You can have the hammer down, which incidentally is something that I do, and I catch a lot of crap from friends of mine who are very knowledgeable, and it's, that really the gun's designed to be carried cocked and locked. But I will tell you, I have a Tier 1 concealment holster, and I don't know how it happened, but I had my stick. It wasn't this gun; it was my C2. But at the end of the day, when I was taking everything off, I saw that the safety was no longer engaged, and that's a pretty good holster, and it looked like the safety was pretty well protected. Now, everything was still safe because remember, this has a grip safety. But nonetheless, I was one step closer to that gun being able to fire in an area that I don't want that gun to fire. So that scared me. So from that point on, I carried this hammer down. Now, the truth is, I don't think it's that much more difficult to pull this gun and put the safety, turn the safety on the fire than it would be just to pull the gun and pull the hammer back. I think it's probably, it's how you train. But nonetheless, that single action only, and you guys know I love my single action only triggers. I love my P229. I love all my 1911s and 2011 style guns. Now, let's talk about the CS for a second. This is the one I was sort of hoping for, and the question I was wondering was, what's this trigger going to be like? Because when you get to triggers, usually when it becomes a concealed carry gun, you want to step it up to, by step it up, I mean, make it a little tighter and a little more poundage. A little more effort has to go into pulling the trigger. They nailed it with this gun. Let's take a moment, and what I want to look at are the trigger weights of the both the Shadow 2 Compact as well as the Shadow 2 Orange, and we'll also look at the trigger weights of the Staccato CS and the XC. Let's just see what the differences are there. Okay, here we go. So, we are going to be using the Wheeler Engineering trigger scale. This is my preference, and I will tell you why. I feel that because with the Wheeler trigger scale, the mechanism is all contained up here. Unlike the Lyman and several other trigger scales where the mechanism is down here, so you have to really just sort of pull to have the trigger to get that measurement. With this particular scale, you have the ability to pull, or you also have the ability to put your trigger on one side and your finger on the other, and just sort of pull the trigger and get a measurement on how much force it's taking. So I think that that's nice because I can really pinpoint where on the trigger I'm putting the pressure. I can try to do it as consistently as possible. But again, it does require a trigger guard that's amenable to that. All right, here we go. Staccato. Now, this is the XC. So this is the competition version. And the thing I have to remember with my 1911s and 2011s is this grip safety. I've done measurements where I'm on like 15 pounds. I'm like, what a crappy trigger. And I realized I forgot to engage that. And I'll probably do it again today. Let's see. But not on the first round. So here we go. Wow. 1 pound, 7.4 ounces. That's our first pull. Saved it. Check it out. £1 pound, 10.7 ounces. All right, last pull. £1 pound, 12.9 ounces. Let's enter that. Okay, so the average for all three pulls is 1 pound, 10.3 ounces. That is an impressive trigger pull. And because it's single action only, that is basically what you're getting with each and every trigger pull. Love that. That, on the other hand, may be considered a touch light in a combat condition, or worse, in a civilian condition where you pull it out and there's other civilians around. So now we've got the CS, which has the flat trigger. Has a smaller trigger guard. Might be a little more difficult to do it this way, but let's see what we got. Sorry. There we go. Okay, 3.69 pounds. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I forgot to clear everything from before. Disregard that one. I don't. Keep in your mind, but it's not going to be part of the calculations. We're going to start with 3 new ones starting now. 2 pounds, 10 ounces even. That's the first one. £2 pounds, 9.1 ounces even. Well, not even 9.1. But anyway, you get it. All right, last one. I think I jerked that one. I hate to even include that one in there, but I will. 3 pounds, 5.5 ounces, bringing the total to 2 pounds, not the total, I'm sorry, the average to 2 pounds, 13.5 ounces. Probably a little bit less than that. But nonetheless, you can see this is I hesitate to use the word heavy, but heavier pool. And I have to say, I'm comfortable with this. When I'm on the range, and the trigger pulls are purposeful. I'm not worried that I'm going to have a accidental or negligent discharge with this. I feel like I have control of that trigger. I do with the Staccato, but add stress into the equation, and I think that I think I'd prefer the CS. All right, now we're getting into some fun stuff, because here we've got the orange. This is the CZ Shadow. Sorry, I didn't mean to shake the camera here. CZ Shadow Orange. This is my competition gun. This has a double action, single action, and in competition you must use both the double action. Actually, you don't really have to use the single action, but you do. So let's check it. But you have to use that double action on your first shot. Oh, you know what? I'm going to change. I'm going to have you hold on for 1 second. You don't have to sit through this, but I'm going to change this to a flatter face. Okay. And now I've got a flatter face on this because this is a much broader trigger. And actually a much smaller, look at that, look how much smaller the trigger guard is here. So just putting this into here, I've got to work it through, and that's got me at 12.5 ounces. So I am curious. Let's see what a double action does here. Okay, 8 pounds, 1.2 ounces. That's our first go at it. Okay. 9 pounds, 4.5 ounces. Boy, this one I might even be better off just pulling back like the other ones after everything I said. 9 pounds, 4.1 ounces. So the average pull on this is 8 pounds, 13.9 ounces for the double action. Now, let's see what she's got for us with the single action. That's kind of the cool part about a gun like this, is it really is 2 guns in one. And you can choose, even with if you're not in competition, if you're doing this for your own safety and you want to walk around cocked and locked, you certainly can. Now, with that already back, look how much more room I have to go into here, into that trigger guard. Okay. 2 pounds, 12.5 ounces is our first one. £2 pounds, 15.2 ounces. And lastly, 2 pounds, 3.5 ounces. All right, let me get that out of there. So the average is 2 pounds, 10.4 ounces for the single action. So that's a pretty dramatic difference. Excuse me. All right, now the defensive version, not the competitive. Although I see a lot of people saying they're planning on competing with this. I think that's a mistake. Well, I guess it depends on the division, but that's not really the purpose of this gun. Go big and go heavy if you're going to compete. All right, let's take a look. Here we go. We're going to do the double action, 3 of them. This actually fits in better than it did on the orange into the trigger guard. 8 pounds, 11.1 ounces. £8, 12.3 ounces. £8 pounds, 8.0 ounces. Oh, I must not have erased the other one. Damn it. All right, sorry about that. But there, you can see where it's going. It's in the 8-poundish area. All right, let's go to, I'll make sure I deleted everything this time. And let's get our single action only here. Okay. £2, 10.1 ounces. £2, 5.2 ounces. £2, 5.8 ounces. Averaging £2, 7.0 ounces. That's a damn nice trigger. I got to tell you, I love this trigger, and you'll see it shooting. And this gun really does stay down. This is a winner. So there you have it. I mean, those are the weights, and let's just pull the trigger. I'll just tell you now how it feels in the hand. The double action trigger on this, and that was what I was really hoping, because shouldn't use the word hate, but I do. I hate the double action, single action for a competition. Now I do, production, so that's what I use this for. There is no cutout for optic on this. All three of the other guns have optic cutouts. On the XC, I actually am rocking an optic. So this is a production gun, and the trigger, the double action trigger, is as smooth as I think as a. Now this has not been the Cajun Gunworks or anywhere to have the trigger worked, other than just my own fiddling around. But this is, when it comes to double action triggers, this is outstanding. It's just very fluid. When it comes to single action, it's really nice. And if I had my way, if the rules allowed, I would carry this gun in. I would carry this cocked and locked for the tournament. However, the rules actually require that my first shot out of this gun be in double action before I go to single action. So, them's the rules. So that's what I do. Now, while I don't like the double action in competition, I love the double action in the carry. So this takes all the pressure off. Now, I've seen a lot of videos on this gun, and one of the big complaints that I see people talking about is the safety. I don't think I'm ever going to use this safety, to be honest with you. It's irrelevant. And the bigger you make the safety, the more you're going to have something that's going to snag or be a little more uncomfortable or more difficult to carry. This is a double action, single action gun. So I think the only time I would put this safety on is if I fired the gun, there was still a round in the chamber ready to go, and I wanted to put it away. Then I certainly would pull the safety up, or I would decock the hammer, which in the other video I explained how that really has to be done manually, unfortunately. But I understand why, because that's what makes this trigger so unbelievably beautiful. So this trigger for double action really feels to me, truthfully, it feels almost lighter than the other one, at least in how it's showing me. In case you guys haven't noticed, the part where I have the weights of the trigger, I am shooting that after I do this part. So I actually don't know what those weights are right now. So I'm really just telling you what I'm feeling. The single action is just wonderful. The reset, this is, as far as it feels to me right now, it's the same trigger that I've been working with the orange all these years. So I feel extremely comfortable, extremely at home. this gun was built with conceal in mind, and then just a little flash just to make me even happier. So, in case you haven't figured it out, so far this is the gun I really prefer to carry, and that is not a strike against the Staccato. I love the Staccato. I just think I'm safer with a double action than single action trigger. That's really in fact, if it comes down to just single action to single action, got the flat face trigger here, diamond light coating. I mean, you can't dislike that. And that reset, I mean, this is a phenomenal trigger, but it's single action only. And that's my concern. So, I'm not going to, one other thing I want to check, let's check the weights of these guns. Let's get a weight here on these guys. Okay. So let's start with the Staccato CS. Staccato CS, these are all unloaded. This does have an optic on it. This is the only gun of the three of the four total, but the other three do not have optics. So, no rounds in it and no magazine. 2 pounds, 5.2 ounces. Okay. It's new carry, answer to the carry community. Again, nothing, and no magazine, no rounds. 1.67 ounces. So, and this gun really feels light. It's a nice, really good feeling gun. And sometimes a gun, when it feels light, doesn't feel substantial. That still feels substantial. Speaking of substantial, check this mofo. So here we go. We got our CZ. Again, nothing in it. 2 pounds, 11 ounces. That's with, again, the steel frame and the steel, body, basically. This one has an aluminum body with a, aluminum frame, steel slide. The other one is a steel slide and steel frame. Okay, here we go. Wow, okay. 1 pound, 11.9 ounces. And that carries lighter. It still has weight to it. And as you'll see in the shooting, I find that it stays down. Now, in all fairness, when you see movement, I think we all know who's to blame for that, and it's not the gun. Anyway, there's our weights. When you're dealing with the competition versus the concealed carry, one of the big differences is the steel frame with the steel slide versus the steel frame and the aluminum slide and the conceal. That I find that this gun shoots great. I don't feel like it's all over the place, but this gun just stays down. But let's take a look just at how the CZ Shadow 2 Compact and the Staccato CS fire. Okay, so we are at the range with the newest of the new. I also brought out the Staccato CS just because I love this gun. So you guys have seen some footage of me shooting the CS. You certainly can go back and look at that. I pretty much have a feel for how this gun shoots. It shoots awesomely. It's just a wonderful, wonderful shooter. So who better to choose to put this up to see how it shoots? Now, while I haven't really shot this, I've shot its big brother, my competitive version of this, and it is a true shooter for sure. So, so most of the shooting I'm going to do today is really focused more on this, but I want to sort of have a home base to go back to. So, let's go ahead. Oh, by the way, one cool thing I should mention. Now, we talked earlier, one of the things I like about the CS is the small grip that it has. The small grip is thanks to the smaller magazine, but that's the proprietary magazine. They make a a 16 round, which is what's in here right now, and they make a 15 round, which is a little bit more flush, but not as flush as I'd like to see it. The CZ Shadow 2 Compact not only takes the compact 15 round magazines that are close to flush with it, it also takes some of my bigger, 20 rounders for the Shadow 2, my orange. So there's more of a magazine choice. But that said, I think it was perfectly worth it to shrink up this magazine and start over again to get this really nice compact grip with the Staccato CS. All right, I can't stand it anymore. I got to shoot this thing. Let's throw a mag in. Okay, so I've racked it. If I were in competition and they said make ready, and I got that far, I'm not done. Notice, I still have the hammer back, which is not acceptable for the first shot. Nobody cares in a self-defense thing, but just to be consistent, I'm gonna go ahead, pull the trigger, holding the hammer, let go of the trigger, and then bring it down so the trigger is partially cocked. For those of you that are concerned about the firing pin block that this gun does not have, it's quite safe to carry like that. A little scary to put it in that condition, but safe to carry like that. It is drop safe. However, if you bring it all the way forward and the hammer is butting up against the pin, that's where people have some worries and concerns. Okay, with no further ado, let's have some fun. First shot is going to be double action. Back up a little for camera purposes here. All right. Nice. Now, oh, love it. So, hands are shaking a little bit, just it's early in the morning for me. But I got to tell you, it's coming right down, right down. I was closing the eye because I'm using irons. I've been using a lot of optics lately. But let me go eye open here. Actually shooting both eyes open. I'm in love. It shoots very much like its big brother. It's not as heavy, but it's coming right down, right back onto my spot. I'm toying with the idea of putting an optic on a dome. I love the purity of knot, and I love the concealment of knot. I'm not even tempted to put an optic on this. But let's go ahead and put some downrange on with this, just to compare. See how the CS does. All right, so the CS is a phenomenal shooter. These are two really top-notch guns. I will try and do, let's see if I can do a set of 3 with each of them, just to sort of give you an idea. But I got to tell you, I've already have an idea. I love both of these guns. So I'm back into how I would carry this gun with it partially cocked. And this is not like a revolver. This is a very smooth double action shot. Now, I didn't understand this when I first started getting into competitions, but a double action is not like, when they tell you to pull back like on a Glock, on a striker fire, pull back until you get to the wall, then focus in on the front sight. With a double action, it's a smooth pull all the way through. You don't want to pull back to tension to the wall and then go. It's just a nice smooth pull all the way through. And it really doesn't feel as weighty as it is. I think we had measured this at around 8 pounds, somewhere in that ballpark. And it really just feels like a typical 4 to 5 pound defensive trigger. And then, once that first shot's off, It's party time. Love it. Love it. All right, I'm going to put the safety up. But as I was saying, the safety, people are complaining about the safety. That's not something I would carry the gun on. I would carry the gun for double action. All right, just throw a couple down with this. All right, staccato fire's okay. I can take it or leave it. Let's finish this round. Forgot I had the safety on. I am very happy with both of these guns, and I would feel very safe walking down an alley with either of these guns. Actually, the only thing that concerns me between the two guns is my reluctancy, my personal reluctancy to carry cocked and locked. That's it. That's the only reason that would make the difference for me. So otherwise, love them both. All right. There's my info. Do with it as you will. Back to me. All right, YouTube. So, these are my two favorite carry guns at the moment. My two favorite conceals. Probably 8 times out of 10, I'll be carrying this one. I did carry this one the other day because I was taking this one to the range and had it in a range bag. So I didn't want to be unarmed, of course. I love both of these guns, though. They're both total winners. So, remember, I'm getting ready to go to SHOT Show. Speak up on your vote versus the scrub top versus the lab coat versus the civvies. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit the bell thing that tells you, as things come up, because there's going to be a lot of stuff coming from SHOT Show, and a lot of you have made requests, and those of you who haven't, feel free. I'm going to follow those requests, and I'm going to try to get stuff out while I'm there, so stay on top of it. And I appreciate you guys. I really do. You guys are sort of making a dream come true for me. I'm so excited just to be going to SHOT Show, to be honest with you. And I've already reached out to several vendors, and I'm just beyond looking forward to it. All right. I'm Dr. Tactical. Dr. Tactical, out.